Hi, am I audible? Good afternoon, Navin Joshua, the founder of GreenHonchos. Thanks for the forced applause while I was coming up here. I know it's tough after the lunch break, but I'll try and keep it short. Only got 3 slides. Try and keep it choppy enough and quick to move across. I also wish I knew the actual secret sauce for profitability. It was just a good catchy subject line to get a house full here post-lunch. But I'll take a stab at it. They're probably, the way we've segmented it, as GreenHonchos, we are known to be a fairly established D2C enabler, working with about 150 brands over the past decade. But I also want to talk about ROAS and the over-dependency on ROAS, especially for D2C brands or D2C first brands or digital brands. We believe that no one cap fits all, but a fragmented tech ecosystem or a tech stack is definitely one of the key challenges. I've known of businesses who want so much to focus on their content, on their product line, on their user, but having to work with multiple tech partners in the ecosystem, half of them are in the next room here with booths, and still trying to grapple where the actual attribution falls. There is no one unique view which is able to get all the KPIs well boxed. That was one. The other was the rising customer acquisition cost, or CAC as we call it. I think too many external factors to it. In today's, I would say, slightly not as fair weather funding environment, I think a lot of businesses have figured out what their stop loss is in terms of ROAS, and are saying the hockey stick growth with a falling ROAS is something that's no longer acceptable. So even partners or agencies are given metrics like net ROAS, and we are all trying and grappling about what can we do about that part of the journey of the funnel that is actually the brand's responsibility. So pardon some of my intent here, because I do come from the supply side of it and not the demand side. So a slightly different view as well. The other important factor that we've seen in terms of disablers to growth or profitability is customer lifetime value or retention. And I'm so happy that a lot of the businesses are investing a lot more in the consumer experience or the customer experience or retention marketing, or MarTech as they call it these days, because all the money is going in at the top of the funnel, and the middle of the funnel is where the consumer is getting a bit lost. And it's so wonderful to see a lot of the D2C brands across categories really engage with their consumers. I believe there's another word out there called personalization, more targeted marketing to your visiting customers, rather than having over 80, 85, 90% of new customer acquisition. We all know that the returning customer or the organic customer, some of you would agree, actually has double the amount of conversion than new customers. New customers always welcome, but focus on the existing customer. I've put it in as a growth barrier, especially for folks in the 0 to 1 journey that don't seem to be working too much on the repeat cohort. So one thing to look out for there. And the last point on this slide would probably be decision making or data driven decision making. I think there are far too many inferences. We see fairly large nationalized businesses as well that make decisions on merchandise. ये 150 product हटा देते हैं. The catalog feed's not updated. You burn money. Many other such things, COD हटा देते हैं. And the impact, these are all good experiments. I see some of our potential clients smiling, so I don't know whether it's for the right or wrong here in this room, but I believe the impact analysis or the size of the experiment is not segmented well enough, because tracking is also all over the place. So you're not able to make the right decisions. Another such one, shipping cost लगा देते हैं क्योंकि RTO बढ़ रहा है. शिपिंग कॉस्ट आप उनका बढ़ा रहे हो जो आरटीओ नहीं कर रहे हैं। जो आरटीओ कर रहे हैं उनको तो शिपिंग कॉस्ट का सवाल ही नहीं पैदा होता है। So, those are about 2 or 3 examples that I would kind of give when I talk about data-driven decision making impacting profitability. Obviously, there are 3 parts to this. I don't know why the G has fallen from monitoring, but there's the tech stack, then there's MarTech, and then there's post-order. So if you look at the entire journey, I think efficiencies are required in each of these areas, none more, none less. So when I say the tech stack, I'll come to something called the core web vitals. And I'm talking pure D2C. I think the core web vitals also are directly linked to Google and the algorithm. I think way too often, we've done studies even with PwC, one of them recently, that about a 1 second increment in page load time on your mobile has about a 22% impact in your end metric called conversion rate. And this is actually an entry funnel metric. So imagine the amount of drop and leakage along the way. So, tech has to be optimized. Another great example would be, it's not that Amazon doesn't know how to make pretty sites. I think they just give a lot more weightage to performance from a core web vitals perspective. So, I believe when it comes to scaling one's D2C, I think focus on core web vitals and the impact on performance there. I go further into it, and we just spoke about the MarTech stack and being able to track your MarTech journeys across your customer segments very well. I believe that's the mid-funnel, or MOF as they call it. So the first was the TOF, this was the MOF. And then the last part that I'd kind of come to is the post-order leakage. When we come to that, I still see a lot of partners or prospects saying that I need X ROAS because my leakage is 36%. And frankly speaking, we are asking the brands why their cancellations or returns are so high. Is it actually product returns, which is customer returns, or is it actually your RTOs? In fact, when we started deep diving with one of the largest shipping aggregators, it turned out to be that the larger shipment packages are more profitable for the shipping partners to actually return than to deliver. So then the shipping partner told us, why don't you tell your clients to actually put in lower weights? It'll actually reduce your RTO. I am not suggesting it. I am just giving you an anecdote. But I mean, it's a strange workaround, and I don't believe it should be done. But the fact is, logistics partners work on a concept of payload, right? Or weight load, as they say in this space. So really, they get charged on truckloads. So the incentive is just to give truckloads, not deliver them. So they fall under different weight slabs then, because the last mile logistics is not your first mile partner. So I think it's fairly interesting insights when you go deeper into it. There are a lot of clicks to be able to manage profitability. And I do believe it would be good if a single window view or an integrated stack of approach that combines your cart journey with your funnel journey and your customer experience with data-driven insights. So yeah, that would be, I have probably another couple of anecdotes here just to wrap this up and open it up to questions, if any, or that's my time. We also noticed that the overlying pressure put on ROAS is not as much a controllable. A lot of brands switch agency for 0.2 efficiency in ROAS. But, when we looked at it deeper, we've realized that brands that have a dispatch SLA, which compares with an Amazon or a Myntra, where the notifications go out within 12 to 24 hours, have much lower RTOs than the ones that have a 1 to 3 days dispatch SLA. I think as D2C founders, we are way too often trying to figure out how to actually penalize the uncontrollables. But there are a lot of controllables, at least that we know we can do a lot better because it doesn't put unnecessary or unrealistic pressure in delivering a higher ROAS. Because that's pretty much like the stock market, you'll be at 20% above or lower, considering you've optimized all the basics. Because if you've got a product market fit, if you're doing something as small or large, however you see it, of about 1 lakh a day, you get it. And then it's a matter of the strat, the merch, and all the other parts of the funnel. Last but not the least, okay, the sales pitches come in between somewhere, but I'll just move on. I guess the way I look at the D2C space, and one analogy is, I kept talking about the leading India marketplaces. Yes, they're multi-category, etc. But in general, a customer comes to a site knowing which category it is. So I don't believe that D2Cs have a disadvantage over the marketplace. They at least know which category they want. And then obviously it's about range, selection, price, color, size, all of that, especially in fashion and lifestyle and the other good things in attributes and other categories. But the headroom I see in terms of profitability is the leading marketplaces have a like-to-like category-wise conversion rate of anywhere ranging between 7 to 10%. Obviously, they have apps, they have retention, there are a lot of other good things they've done over a period of time that we can learn and imbibe from. And over the course of time, they have a higher returning customer. But I would say as D2C, that's the value opportunity. A lot of us as D2C, we are cheerleaders for D2C, are anywhere between the 0.6 to 1.8% conversion rate. And then if you want to scale faster versus slower versus price point versus segmentation. But just think about it, that if we are able to work on multiple aspects of this funnel, the headroom of profitability from let's say a 2% upwards to an 8% is there over years. So it's not going to be as tough because the market is also ever growing. The penetration is still less than 20%. We all know that. So it looks quite nice in terms of the crystal ball. There's so much more to do that is in our controllables. And D2C is here to stay. I'm done with my time. Open for questions. Anyone, any questions? Yeah.
So first of all, a great session and great insights.
Thank you.
So as you said, we don't have a control over a lot of things. We cannot control the CPM. We cannot control a lot of things. We don't know what CTRs we are getting. But after we acquire a customer, after we get him to click on the ad, after we get him to come on the website, what according to you have been the working strategies to increase the AOV and realize more values? Is it offering more discounts on volumes? Is it offering free shipping on volumes? Can you suggest some strategies to increase the cart value and AOV?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a great question. It's a deep question. It'll probably take some time. And if any of the D2C founders can help answer this better than me, it'll be very helpful. Anyone wants to, take a stab at it, please feel free. But, it's also just my own study of the space. I don't think pricing and discounting is a hook at all. Yes, increasing basket size with some offers is fine. It's an encouragement, and it's an encouragement that even the offline is doing throughout the year anyway. The increase in you want me to stop?
Go ahead,
okay.
go ahead.
The increase in average order value is great for ROAS. Now that's a big advantage that D2Cs have over marketplaces. Your items to basket can be as high as 1.8 in many categories, especially the soft lines. So exclusivity of range for your own D2C, the ability to give better bundled offers rather than pricing and discounting, the value proposition of content to commerce as a journey and a narrative is something that at D2C we were just discussing with a brand that nothing else gives that opportunity as much as a D2C own e-commerce does. So yeah, I believe over time most businesses have seen that a good way to start these days is to use the marketplaces as a PMF or a product market fit, but really build the narrative and following and journey and the repeat customer purchase on your own D2C.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap. Can we have a huge round of applause? I request Ms. Nandini Banerjee to please come on stage and hand over a memento to our keynote speaker. On the center, sir. It was so good listening to you and talking to you. We have Navin Joshua, the founder and director of GreenHonchos, ladies and gentlemen. Here is a memento being handed over. This is D2C Summit 2023.